Good evening, everybody. President Trump still held hostage by the totalitarian New York judiciary. Marxist Dem activist judge Juan Merchant today held President Trump in contempt of court. Personally, my guess is just about every decent citizen in this country is also contemptuous of Judge Merchant and his so-called court. The Marxist magistrate fined Donald Trump $9,000 for being in what I consider properly contemptuous of Merchant's court today. That's $1,000 for each of the online statements made by the president that Merchant claims violated his gag order. But try as he might, Merchant just can't keep Trump quiet. President Trump's obvious contempt for Merchant and the bigly prosecutor Alvin Bragg, who brought the case, drives the judge crazy. So crazy, in fact, that in a written order, Merchant said he wished he could fine Trump even more per offense. Well, there's Merchant, and he has no discretion at all to raise fines. So he proposed what he sees as the next best thing. Quote, jail may be a necessary punishment. Spoken like a true, petty, pedestrian Marxist tyrant of the worst sort. The persecution that President Trump faces is like nothing the country's ever seen before, and we'll be taking up that very topic later in the show. And turning to the pro-terrorism protests and anti-Semitic riots that are raging across college campuses in America. Early this morning, Hamas sympathizers and anti-Semites rushed buildings at Columbia University. The mindless protesters said they wouldn't back down, not until Columbia cuts any and all ties with Israel. Witnesses described a scene of utter anarchy, windows bashed with hammers, furniture converted into ramparts. What we are witnessing seems to be orchestrated, organized to a fine degree, whether it's in the East Coast or the West, whether it's in the Midwest. Similar scenes are playing out, similar scenes of chaos playing out at Virginia Commonwealth University, for example, where pro-Hamas protesters triggered shelter-in-place orders and threatened police officers. Now, those scenes are stunning. These are American college and university campuses we're watching, and young Americans who are in the grip of this anti-Semitic, anti-Israel, anti-America demonstration. Those protesters surrounded campus police, and elsewhere, police had to retreat as the Hamas sympathizers became even more violent. And the people in charge of these schools, the administrators, the presidents, and all of their corporate bodies, the people in charge have utterly failed. And that is the first takeaway in all of this. They permitted these anti-Semitic protests to take control of their universities and ruin the semester for the vast majority of Columbia University students, for example, even costing them their graduation ceremonies. The weak and cowardly administrators have enabled these pro-terrorist radicals. And in what may become a costly trend, one student is now suing Columbia for failing to provide a safe learning environment. In particular, this student says Columbia has done nothing as Jewish students are subjected to vicious harassment and threat. Well, joining us now is a professor at Kentucky State University, Wilford Riley. And Professor, great to have you here with us. As you watch what is happening across college campuses in this country, what are your thoughts about what has gripped so many young students uh, in these universities, whether state or private, whether it's west or east coast, north or south? It doesn't seem to matter.
Well, I'll say two things about this. I mean, first of all, it's absolutely wild. I mean, if you look at the pro-Hamas protests, I think is the best way to describe them at some unexpected places like VCU, but also at Columbia, so on down the line. I mean, you have people that are literally scuffling in the street, confronting the police. I mean, shouting anti-Semitic slogans at Jewish students. That's clearly not acceptable. I mean, that's level one. But I do think level two, one reason that we're paying attention to this now is that the group being attacked is Jewish Americans. And we all know where that can lead. And there's not a lot of tolerance for that, I think, appropriately. But I mean, campus radicalism of this kind has been going on for a very long time. I remember 5 or 6 years ago, many on the right and the center right were commenting that whenever Ben Shapiro or Milo Yiannopoulos or someone like this showed up at a college campus, there was a full-on riot with, Starbucks stores being set alight and 50 people hospitalized. And that was no exaggeration. I mean, during the BLM protest period, you saw hostility like this directed at white students, Black conservatives, Republicans. I mean, so on down the line, Christians on a couple of occasions, recruiters, pretty frequently. So I do think now we're seeing, well, okay, this is well over the line. This is coming in the wake of a foreign conflict. This is targeting Jewish members of the campus community. We can't allow this, but this has been building for some time.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's been building for some time. I think that COVID probably interrupted the train that the trajectory of all of these events. As a matter of fact, I know it did. President Trump's term in office also was a dampener as well. But when we look at what's going on here, there's something different here. This is outright, pure, unadulterated hate speech that is occurring. This is calling for genocide. This is calling for the death of Israel, calling for the death of America. And what we're seeing is a weakness amongst the administrators, the presidents, the people who are managing these universities. Across the country, there are far more cowards than there are administrators who are taking responsibility for the safety of their students and their institution. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'd agree with a lot of that. Now, again, I would say that a lot of this kind of language, I mean, if you go back to Vietnam, even, I mean, the student protesters were chanting, ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh, death to America, getting in fistfights with veterans after spitting on them. I mean, there are no good white men during BLM. What was the New York Times back page editorial or op-ed? Yes, we mean literally abolish the police. So I don't think that this rhetoric is necessarily any more extreme or crazy than something like defund the police or abolish the white race or any of the things that we've been tolerant of, in all honesty. I do think that this is a real revelation to a lot of people who are upper middle class, white, Jewish American, et cetera, urban residents of what this stuff is, though. I mean, for people that truly believe the current radical philosophy is extraordinarily anti-Western, it's extraordinarily anti-American. I don't think that's an exaggeration. The reason these people are backing Palestine over Israel in this foreign conflict that otherwise doesn't involve them at all is simply that Israel is seen as Western coded. And that brings in the ability to use these terms like settler colonialism, decolonize. And a lot of people are starting to understand what that means.
Professor, come on. That crap went out with the 60s. I mean, anybody using that today isn't an original thinker. And the reality is that this is, I beg your pardon?
No, I didn't mean to jump in there, but of course they're not original thinkers. It's just communism.
But that's my point. This is a planned, orchestrated effort in behalf of Hamas. It's anti-Jewish, it is anti-Semitic, it's anti-Israel, and it's anti-America. And what we've been putting up with on these university campuses, and my point earlier, to the cowards who are running these institutions, they are part of the indoctrinated class. And the reality is, we as a society have let these little university ecological systems brew up this anti-American hate, indoctrinating them with DEI, ESG. All of this nonsense is pure bull on any level. You know, if you attach systemic to racism, suddenly you've got an intellectual discussion. If it's otherwise, you're just in the streets calling people racist. This country right now, it's media, it's the institutions that we should be depending upon for leadership. My Lord, they look they look absolutely hollow and vacant. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, we definitely don't disagree on the core point that there are some ideologies here, and they have been around since the 60s. By the way, I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but all of this stuff is just lower IQ Marxism rebranded. So, I mean, the core Marxist idea is kind of the
Now we're
economic
talking.
system that looks fair. It's a hustle set up to benefit the rich. Critical race theory replaces the rich man with the white man. Fourth wave feminism replaces the rich man with the man, so on. But yeah, all this stuff is entrenched in the institutional structure in American academia, American corporate
So
business. I
what
don't
are we?
think this is true of family business.
So what are we
Yeah,
going to do
and
with these? What are we going to do with these moronic professors who've been indoctrinating students to the tune of $50,000 a year for the parents who have to take out loans and every other thing and to listen to this nonsense? And you and I agree on that. I mean, this isn't an education that most of these students are getting. This is, I mean, they're babysitted. And you look at these 19-year-olds in the streets, on the campuses, talking big about what they're going to do about this or that. These people are, frankly, they're delirious, and they're awfully young. But you know what? We send people off to war when they're 18, and these people were giving a free pass. I mean, at what point are we going to take them out of diapers? Because we're letting it stretch up to 19 to 20. Where does it end up?
yeah, I mean, so the answer to what we should do is apply the forces of society to these institutions just like we do to every other location in society. I mean, in society, if you fight a cop and outside a working class bar, you get arrested, you get charged with a low grade felony. That's exactly what should happen to all these college students throwing objects. I mean, if you go to a decent prep school, you break school rules, you're out drinking or something, you get expelled. That's exactly what should happen to all these kids that refuse to leave their encampments. I mean, parents and alumni, every university, we both went to pretty good colleges. Every university hits you up 3 times a year for donations. Don't give. I mean, that's how you can have an impact on this. Because when you said there's an institutional structure here, I think that's important. The issue here isn't that there are Democrats teaching in college or something like that. The issue is that there's this whole alphabet soup of consulting business. I mean, you already did DEI, but let's say ESG, SEL, new HR, CRT,
Yeah.
that's being implemented across a lot of business, a lot of
Yeah.
academia, and you have to cut that out to win the fight here. Chris Rufo, a friend of mine's good on this.
Yeah, Chris has, by the way, been. I would say he is the originator. He was at the inception, and there was an original thinker as we began our discussion. Professor, come on back anytime. Love to talk with you and enjoyed our discussion here today. Appreciate it. And turning now to a battle in New York Senate race. In the Republican primary, there are two candidates. They're squaring off over who will face New York's Democratic incumbent Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. But the GOP primary race isn't your regular race. It isn't being decided by voters, at least not yet. It's being decided by the courts. And we know how those New York courts work. The New York State Supreme Court will decide whether Kara Castronova will be allowed on the ballot after she went through gathering 15,000 signatures to meet the Republican Party's threshold. New York's GOP is still trying to keep her off the ballot, and Castronova has blasted the Republican Party for being gatekeepers for rhinos. In an op ed in the Gateway Pundit, and while President Trump has endorsed her opponent, there are major concerns about the candidate after it was discovered that his security firm donated $1,000 to Trump's political persecutor, Attorney General Letitia James. Joining us now to discuss all of this is the New York Senate candidate, Kara Castronova. And we appreciate you being with us, Kara. An interesting race and what complexities. Let's start with How do you feel about the race right now? How is the coverage? How are you feeling about it all?
I feel good about the race. I know that if I remain on the ballot, I will win the primary. And a lot of people believe that here in New York as well, which is the reason I think the Republican Party is trying so hard to remove me from the ballot by taking me to court. I have right now a court case in the New York Supreme Court, like you mentioned, where my opponent is actually suing me to get me knocked off the ballot, which I find to be very interesting because he has the endorsement of the party, because they were able to secure President Trump's endorsement for him, which was a very, there's a story behind that. And also because
Well,
he has a lot of money. So why is he trying to knock off a grassroots candidate with the amount of support that I have on a grassroots level in court? It's very disturbing.
so, as you say, I mean, this is a peculiar. I mean, this is Biden-esque. Him going after you in the courts to keep you off the ballot and out of the primary. It is also more than passing strange that President Trump has endorsed him, uh, uh, and he has donated to Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, who has been persecuting him for years now.
Right.
How does that work?
Unfortunately, I don't think President Trump receives all the information at the beginning. The New York State nominating convention was in February. Ed Cox, the chairman of the state, ran to President Trump within one day to try to secure this endorsement for Sapricone and didn't let him know that there were other candidates in the race. So didn't really give him the full story. And obviously for me, that was something that I have to deal with because I'm a very big Trump supporter. For President Trump, I've been fighting him for a long time as a journalist, as an activist. So I'm still a very big Trump supporter. And I think that they thought that I was going to try to reach out to President Trump through Rudy Giuliani or Roger Stone, both who had endorsed me. And they were fearful that if he endorsed me, that it would completely knock their candidate out of the race. So they went out of their way, to make a long story short, to secure that endorsement while I was fighting legal battles and wrapped up gathering petitions and distracted. They were able to get to him before I was.
Well, again, I mean, all of that's very interesting, but the reality is that are you saying that someone misrepresented the race to President Trump in his own team?
I don't want to say that because I don't want to speculate, but I did get a chance to speak with Trump afterwards, and really, the consensus was that he thought his understanding was there was only one person that was running for
Right.
United States Senate on the Republican primary side.
So, what is your sense then? Because that Trump endorsement is, as you know, it is gold, and it will be likely determinant between the two of you as to who prevails. Have you talked to the Trump team or to President Trump himself to see if there is a way to amend what appears to be a decision based on incomplete information?
Correct. Yes, I was planning on once this ballot, once I was out of court and officially on the ballot, reapproaching President Trump about this. What people don't understand is that here in New York, it's very draconian. It's very archaic the way that you could get on the ballot as a contender that is not picked by the establishment. And they tie you up in court and gathering tens of thousands of petitions and amending these petitions and running around in a circle like a chicken with your head cut off, that you don't have time to campaign. You don't have time to get endorsed, reach out for endorsements. It's very difficult to fundraise. And this has been going on for decades now. And I feel like I really want to be the person to bring attention to this because New York is in such a bad position right now. It's in dire straits. Everybody knows that. And it's because the elected officials, for the most part, go unchallenged here in New York. There's no primaries. The voters have no say. The party is coronating candidates, and those candidates are beholden to the party. They'll never be beholden to the people. So that's the issue here in New York. And I've been running around trying to get on the ballot and protect myself and fight in court, but I haven't had a chance to do all of the normal things a candidate could do. Like, again, reapproach Donald Trump, maybe go down to Mar-a-Lago with some friends, talk to him about these things. I just haven't had time. I'm required to be in court a number of days during the week. I'm required to turn in motions. I'm required to do a
It,
lot of things that my opponent does not have to do.
that does sound draconian. It also sounds very much like that you and President Trump have something in common, that you're both under the heel of what is a tyrannical, Marxist, authoritarian, and utterly corrupt New York judiciary. Do you see any similarities in your circumstances?
I can't even imagine what President Trump is going through right now. Considering what I'm going through, it is similar because I'm one person and I'm a grassroots candidate and I'm not a billionaire, so I'm representing myself in some of these cases.
Right.
But it takes up your mental stress. You know, all my mind power, even at night when I'm going to bed, is thinking about my strategy the next day for my legal case. I cannot focus on campaigning, so I understand in that sense what Trump is going through. I can't focus on fundraising because I'm thinking about my motion that I have
Yeah.
to have in the next morning. I'm thinking about presenting myself in front of the judge and not being lacking in sleep. So it's very similar. And I'm very
So what?
disappointed in the Republican Party that they're using lawfare to go against opponents just like the Democrats do.
Well, I would say the Republican Party in New York has some explaining to do. Why would they be supporting a candidate who supported Letitia James? Why would they? Why would that be?
I have no idea why. You would have to ask Ed Cox that. And this person is nothing. You know, he doesn't align with America First. He's not a Trump supporter. He said terrible things about President Trump on his podcast that he scrubbed from the internet. Everything that we stand for as America First, you know, he does not. He is not a supporter of the Second Amendment. He believes that we should send American troops to Ukraine. He has a lot of really interesting stances that I think a lot of people that would support President Trump would not support. And he has a very checkered history. So that hasn't even come out yet. And that will come out in obviously the general election and will hurt the down ticket. And it will hurt President Trump with the minority communities because there's a lot of stuff and evidence pointing to things that he did as a police officer when it came to withholding exculpatory evidence that put somebody in jail for decades that was actually innocent. So there's all of these factors that I feel like the party did not they didn't really do their homework on this guy before they gave him the nomination. And it's going to come, the chickens are going to come home to roost if he's actually the candidate going up against Kirsten Gillibrand. It's going to really hurt Trump. It's going to really hurt the down ticket. And that's why I'm fighting so hard to stay on the ticket.
Well, fight you should, because you have been really undercut by draconian forces, to use your word, that are at work apparently in the state Republican Party, and also that some sort of speculation has to arise about how in the world somebody would not have given President Trump the full brief on who was running and what was involved. Kara, we just want to say, first of all, thanks for being with us. I hope you'll come back and keep us up to date on your travails and hopefully your success as you proceed to get on the ballot in New York for the Republican nomination to the U.S. Senate. Kara, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
God bless you. Well, now from one failing state to another one, California. Los Angeles Metro Board member Catherine Barger recently admitted in a board meeting that she's too afraid to ride the very LA transit system that she helps run.
I will not ride our transit system by myself. I am afraid, and I sit on Metro, but I will not ride it. We're not going to build security to get our way out of this. We have to look at the root cause of what is going on. That is our mental health system, both at the local level, at the state level, and at the federal.
And of course, since it's California, the solution will be complicated. It'll be a question of just how much more money the taxpayers have to pay out to make that transit system safe to travel, even for the people who run it. No wonder the state is going, south. And in Florida, a transplanted New Yorker who fled the collapsing Democrat-run state, it was given a rude awakening in the Sunshine State after he keyed a car that had a "Let's Go Brandon" bumper sticker.
Was it the bumper sticker? Because they've got a ton of security footage there, man.
Okay, so
I see you walking behind it, and you look over at it, and she's got a sticker that says "Let's Go Brandon" or something.
Yeah. I guess it infuriated me.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Was that it? That's the only reason you did it? You don't know who owns the truck or anything?
Yeah, that's the only reason I did it.
So, Mr. Brothers, here's the unfortunate news. She wants to press charges, so I have to take you to jail, sir, so that you should turn around. Put your hands behind your back. Yeah, I'll take it off for you.
And now I'm pleased to bring you more developments at MyPillow. MyPillow is excited to bring you their biggest bedding sale ever. Get the Giza Dream Bed sheets for as low as $39.98. A set of pillowcases, only $9.98. And I want you to know my wife and I sleep on Giza sheets, and we love them. We think they're unbeatable, in fact, and we've been sleeping on My Pillow Giza sheets for some years now. And you can rejuvenate your bed with a My Pillow mattress topper as well for as low as $99.99. They also have blankets in a variety of sizes, colors, styles like plush, waffle, and down for as low as $39.99. They even have blankets for your pets. And yes, our dogs have My Pillow beds, which they love, by the way. They even have the dog blankets. Two of our dogs are older, and they absolutely appreciate those beds and those blankets. Get huge discounts on duvets, quilts, down comforters, body pillows, couch pillows, and so much more. So go to mypillow.com, use promo code Dobbs. You'll be glad you did. Or call 800-977-9152. Get all of your shopping done now while quantities last. And remember, use promo code Dobbs. Great bargains, great quality, a great promo code. I'm sure you agree. And be sure to join us each and every day for my podcast, The Great America Show. Turning now to the political persecution of President Trump. No president has ever suffered so much as Donald Trump and his family at the hands of the Marxist Dems and the deep state. No one has felt the rage of the regime more than our 45th president. I told you earlier about New York Marxist judge Juan Merchant's $9,000 fine for Trump's absolutely, I think, appropriate contempt of Merchant. And Thursday, Merchant plans to hold another hearing on more alleged violations of the precious judge's gag order by the president. Merchant can't raise the fines. He can, however, add to them. And the politically corrupt two-bit tyrant of a judge says jail time for Trump is also a possibility. Really, Judge? Well, joining us now to take up all of this is President Trump attorney Jesse Banal. And Jesse, great to have you with us. Let's start with this ridiculous judge, Juan Merchant, contempt of court, 9 counts, $9,000, and now he's threatening jail time. Another hearing set for Thursday. What is it? What is this fool up to?
Well, first of all, I mean, people need to understand exactly how dangerous it is that a judge a New York City judge just told the presumptive Republican nominee for president of the United States what he could and could not have on his campaign website. This is something that is extraordinarily dangerous. This goes to the very, very heart of why we have a First Amendment, in order to make sure that political speech is protected. And by the judge starting to interfere into what a political campaign can and cannot say is something that is truly, truly unprecedented. I think all of us know exactly what he's playing at here and what he's doing. He is using his position as a judge in order to interfere with a presidential election. And in doing so, he's violating extremely important constitutional and civil rights. Quite frankly, he's putting himself in violation of federal law by doing this. He's violating the 18 U.S.C. 242, which makes it a crime to interfere with somebody's civil rights under color of law. It's a huge problem what he's doing right now.
Is it your judgment that he may indeed be held accountable under that code? Would he face prosecution?
Well, Lou, I think it's fair to say that the Biden Justice Department has no interest in prosecuting anybody that's going after Donald Trump right now. That they have, think about it this way. They have found this kind of loophole in our system where a sitting president cannot be charged and can't be immediately hauled before a court, either a state court or a federal court, during his term of office. But now they found out that they can prosecute and go after their political opponent. So Joe Biden is free to do whatever he wants. And if some other district attorney was to try to indict him for, incentivizing people to cross the border illegally or something like that, there's no way they could prosecute him right now. So you couldn't have a judge that would hold Biden to the same rules that President Trump is being held to right now. now. So the Biden Justice Department isn't going to do it. The question is whether we, as conservatives right now, as people in the Make America Great Again movement, are going to have the fortitude that when President Trump wins, and I do believe that despite all this, he's going to win in November, whether we will make sure that there is accountability and these people are actually, brought up on charges as they should be. Because if we don't, they will always do this. They will continue to do this. And the Constitution of the United States is what will suffer in the long run.
Well, the Constitution will suffer. The President of the United States will suffer. The American people are suffering because we're watching this proceed, and there isn't an ounce of decency in the entire New York State judiciary. There is no one intervening with this reckless, petty political hack, Judge Merchant. I mean, this guy is over the top. Whether it is the charges that have been brought. Alvin Bragg, I mean, the fool of a district attorney. George Soros sponsored. Everything is in front of the American people. These are corrupt, active Marxists. In the case of Bragg, I mean, he's playing the part of the goon, and certainly Merchant is playing I don't know what kind of role as a judge who thinks he is somehow beyond contempt, because I think that the contempt of everything that's happening in that courtroom and that judge is entirely appropriate. Only an unreasonable person, a person without values, would think that that we shouldn't hold him in contempt. I mean, at some point, this has to stop. Is there no one who can intercede, or is this your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, all those are excellent points, and let's also remember who else this gag order places beyond the realms of political discourse, and that is the person in the district attorney's office, Colangelo, who moved over from Joe Biden's Department of Justice
Right.
in order to prosecute Donald Trump. What Alvin Bragg asked for and what Judge Merchan granted was that Donald Trump's not allowed to talk about this guy that is using this lawfare from Joe Biden in order to go after and prosecute a political rival. Now, this is something that very much is part of our political discourse right now in this election, because the most important, I think, issue right now, period, in this country is the left's attempt to destroy our constitutional republic using this sort of lawfare. And so all this should be absolutely in bounds. Is there a way right now that we can have accountability when you don't seem to have a lot of Court of Appeals judges that are willing to step in and put an end to this? I don't know how we do this through our legal system right now. And the simple fact is, this is an assault on the American Republic. This is an assault on the American people. It's up to Americans to fix this. And the way that we have to fix this is to, first of all, no matter how mad you are right now at this, you're not mad enough. This is the biggest assault on our constitutional republic in 250 years. And so we need to go out there and make sure that Donald Trump is the president of the United States again. And then, President Trump has to appoint people, and I truly believe that he will, that are going to put an end to this once and for all and have accountability.
Well, we certainly hope so. And right now, we have to get by this fool of a New York State judge, Merchant, and he's sitting here talking about imprisoning the presumptive nominee of the Republican Party just because it would please him to do so. Is there no way in the world right now, not after November 5th, or not January 20th of 2025, but right now, there is no one with sufficient guts and decency in the entire New York court system to shut this clown show down?
There should be. This is the reason that we have appellate courts is when you have a judge that just goes completely out of bounds, that just throws
Mhm.
our constitutional rights right under the bus. You're supposed to have Court of Appeals judges that will set that judge straight. And New York does have two different levels of appellate systems. You've got the local appellate courts there in New York City. They call that the appellate division. And then you have the New
Mhm.
York Court of Appeals. Those are people that should be able to take and rein this out of control judge in. But I mean, so far we haven't seen that they have the fortitude to do that. And so then if you go to the federal courts right now, you unfortunately are on the the same district that had the completely outrageous judgments about Jean Carroll,
Right.
and a judge that just, in that case, read ramp shot over President Trump's constitutional rights. There's not really, I think, a large chance that the New York federal court system is going to do much about it either. So what does that mean? That, we've essentially have so many judges that are willing to put aside their judicial duty in order to protect the Constitution and protect people's constitutional rights in order to achieve their political objectives. Well, I mean,
Right.
that's what we're looking at right now, and that means it's up to the American people. It's something that we have
Yeah.
to make sure that this never happens again, because they are doing everything they can to try to affect a presidential election, to use this to try to
We're-
affect a presidential election. And
yeah,
so we need
the
to fight this
outrage
out
is
at the ballot
clear.
box.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
outrage is clear. What is not clear is why the checks and balances of this constitutional republic are not working. Why there isn't decency in the New York state judiciary. Why in the world there's even a question right now about presidential immunity when we look around from New York and the various cases in New York to the D.C. Court system, to the Fulton County, Georgia, to Florida and the federal courts again. In every instance, this is a blight on the nation. It is an affront to even the thought of law and order, let alone a constitutional republic. And the only body that I can think of that can fix this is a Supreme Court that has the courage to say this stops and it stops now. And he does have immunity from all of this. Uh, your thoughts, real quickly, as we wrap up.
Yeah, Lou, I think that's right. I think an immunity decision is very helpful to that. I think the justices at oral argument last week, they saw the problem, and that I think they're going to come up with a rule that does address it. It just won't have necessarily the immediate impact on the state prosecutions that we need it to right now. But
Right.
it's going to, unfortunately, the Supreme Court rarely acts with immediate speed. But I think it's going to at least be a step in the right direction.
Well, that would be helpful. A solution would be preferable. Thank you very much, Jesse Benall, attorney for President Trump. Thanks for being with us. The illegal alien violence in this country, as you notice, is not only rising, it's raging as the illegal alien invasion at our southern border goes on unchecked. And many of these illegal aliens are committing heinous crimes across the country. In Chicago, an illegal alien shot a woman in a drive-by shooting. The shooter, Adelvis Rodriguez Carmona, has been connected to a vicious gang in Venezuela. The Chicago Police Department made more than 1,000 arrests of illegals from that country in just the first 3 months of this year. And that's from an analysis by the Chicago Tribune, but it comes with an important caveat. It includes only data from the sanctuary city of Chicago. The real number is presumably much higher. This is, of course, happening almost everywhere. In Maryland, an illegal alien named Gilbert Diaz was just arrested and charged after a fatal hit and run. Diaz was driving when he slammed into 27-year-old Jacques Price, a young father. Diaz had just been released from federal prison. His track record includes drug charges, assault, armed robbery, and all of those charges just since he entered the United States illegally 4 years ago. Diaz has never been deported, not once, not on the day he fatally struck Price, certainly. Diaz was driving without a license. It's enough to break your heart and make your blood boil. But it's important to remember that each and every tragedy like this directly results from the policies of the Marxist Dems and the Joe Biden regime, who've turned our southern border over to the Mexican drug cartels for smuggling illegal aliens by the millions, sex trafficking, and deadly drugs that killed almost 500,000 Americans just since Biden took over the country. Meanwhile, the Department of Justice has run amok, and one Republican congressman is blasting the Biden regime for its third world lawfare tactics against President Trump and conservatives. Representative Andy Harris said in an interview with Breitbart News, quote, "It's anybody who supports the president, anybody who's conservative. They're all targets of this Department of Justice under the Biden administration." The congressman has also slammed these pro-Palestinian demonstrators who've struck college campuses all over the country, where he says anti-Semitism has been simmering for some time. Maryland Congressman Andy Harris joins us now to take up these topics. Congressman, great to have you with us. Let's start with what we're witnessing in New York today. The President of the United States found guilty by the judge, decreeing that he was contemptuous of court on 9 occasions by using his personal social media. Your thoughts about what is happening to President Trump right now with all of these courts in high dudgeon trying to destroy the man?
Well, Lou, the fact of the matter is that the First Amendment apparently doesn't apply to everyone. The president was exercising, as far as I'm concerned, his First Amendment rights to freedom of speech. But this judge is not a tolerant judge. You know, the liberals all claim tolerance, but in fact, they don't tolerate free speech. They want to punish free speech. And in this case, the judge punished the president's free speech.
Yeah, indeed he did. And now he's set a hearing for Thursday in which he wants to come back for some more and even raise the specter of actually jailing President Trump. This judge is a cretin. I mean, he is a disgusting excuse for anyone on a bench anywhere in this country. And no one seems to be able to break the president free from his grasp, as corrupt and partisan as he obviously is.
Well, good luck on throwing the president in jail. I mean, what are you going to do? Reserve the 3 cells on each side for Secret Service agents? I mean, this is ridiculous. You can't put a former president in jail who the American people have asked the Secret Service to protect. The bottom line is this judge is out of control. This is so obviously, if it doesn't result in a mistrial or a not guilty verdict, it's going to appeal. It'll be appealed ultimately all the way to the Supreme Court probably, and it'll be laughed out of court. Mr. Bragg should just be ashamed of himself.
Yeah, Bragg he is simply a hack doing exactly what he's told. People forget the previous Manhattan DA had looked at the same charges, said, no, we can't. Twice they refused to take up the case. Bragg himself turned it down, but not until the Biden White House got indirectly involved, and sent down Mr. Colangelo to be the number 3 in the Justice Department to show the New York DA how to go after a president. Did it come full circle? We know this is an orchestrated conspiracy to destroy President Trump, to destroy the Republican nominee for president and protect Joe Biden. And no one, it seems, is saying a word where it will do any good. The Supreme Court, do you have any hope that they will actually stand up for truth, justice, and the American way? I'll put it that way.
I do. I think they will. It might take a little time to get there, but I do think they will. The bottom line is, look, the fix is in. No one leaves a federal, a high-level federal position in the Department of Justice to go to a local jurisdiction to be a prosecutor. I mean, unless you have a plan, unless you have an agenda. And again, that's what's playing out in New York.
Well, it's playing out in New York. We watched the DA's office in Fulton County, Georgia, just it was without question a rancidly corrupt operation under Fannie Willis, and now we have no sense really of what in the world they're going to do because they've imploded down there. Have you got any sense of what we're going to do with all these corrupt judiciaries in the state of Georgia, in the state of New York, in the District of Columbia? Because there's got to be a fix to this. This is rampant, rancid corruption of a system that we used to think of as the world's greatest justice system. It is now one of the worst.
Look, that's absolutely right. I mean, the bottom line is that, Fannie Willis and her boyfriend quite literally got caught with their pants down in this, and the American people are watching. They know that these prosecutors, their staff, they're corrupt, they have an agenda, and that they're going after this president in a third world fashion. This is what they do in third world countries. You take you make up some charges, you bring your political opponents into court, and then you attempt to invalidate their ability to be in an election. Again, this is not like they're reinventing the wheel. This is exactly the way it's done in the dictatorships.
Right. And as we wrap up here, Speaker Mike Johnson, once again, setting everybody up. He guided the conference to a vote for $61 billion for Ukraine. And this time, we find out that was just an installment. It wasn't what was going to be spent in Ukraine. Were you surprised that the Biden administration within days was calling for a 10-year security agreement that would provide American capital to Ukraine for a decade?
No, this should be a surprise to no one. We knew that the $61 billion, which included some humanitarian aid, that military aid was not going to last longer than a year, probably not even last till the year's end. And then what do you expect is going to happen? The same thing. We're going to say, well, you have to send them more money, otherwise you're a Putin puppet. We're going to hear the exact same thing at the end of the year. So I'm not surprised at all. I'm actually a little surprised that they're only asking for $60 billion over 10 years. I would think that they're already floating out another aid package in the $60 billion range for next year.
Yeah. I think that, by the way, your instincts are exactly correct. That's probably just about the number we'll see for next year and every year thereafter, particularly with this Biden regime. It is, can I ask you this? Isn't there some sort of sense in the Congress that you all don't know enough to be doing these things? I mean, there have been no hearings on Ukraine, really. There have been no hearings on what we're doing with our budget. There's been no hearing on just how confounded our fiscal policies are and the fact that we're going to be a debtor nation in perpetuity as we approach $36 trillion in debt. I mean, we're in real trouble and there are no hearings. I don't understand it.
Well, again, this is Washington gone wild. I mean, the bottom line is the spenders are out in full force. You know full well that when you get two of the major financial institution heads in the past 3 weeks, all warning that the federal government spending is a problem. It's going to drive inflation. It's going to cause economic problems in this country. We better start paying attention. That was $95 billion, that bill 2 weeks ago, with nothing, not like we're prioritizing and saying, well, we're going to take this money from the Green New Deal $1 trillion and spend it instead on defending Israel. No, it was brand new spending, brand new debt.
Right. Yeah. And by the way, everybody keeps thinking about it's the American taxpayer. Well, it is the American taxpayer, but we also are borrowing all that money from the Chinese. So the Chinese are supporting Russia in Ukraine, and the Chinese are supporting the U.S. supporting Ukraine in the Ukraine-Russia war. I mean, this is now both farcical and at the same time just utterly disgusting to watch it be called American foreign policy. Joe Biden and his regime have done more to set this nation back, to destroy this nation than I think even they dreamed they could get done in 3 years. Congressman, we appreciate you for being with us. Congressman Andy Harris, Great America. Thanks for being with us, Congressman.
Thank you, Lou.
Well, are you ready for a revolution in the U.S. supply chain? A revolution in transportation as well. Tens of thousands of driverless trucks are now expected to be hauling freight on our highways in the coming years. The company Aurora will be sending 20 of its driverless trucks out on a test run between Dallas and Houston, Texas in 2024. So look out, America. Here they come. The future is here, and thousands of delivery drivers may not be prepared for the economic dislocation that technology sometimes brings with it. But from modern transportation to exotic creatures, you can find something else to marvel at on the roads in Washington state these days. That's right, zebras. These striped beasts cut loose on the highway in King County, providing a unique exercise for animal control experts and a visual delight for stunned observers who saw them running free. And it really is a zoo up there near Seattle these days in so many ways. And before we go, I want to talk about something really exciting. When Mike invented the original MyPillow, it had everything you could want in a pillow. Now, nearly 2 decades later, he discovered a new technology that makes MyPillow even better. The MyPillow 2.0 has the patented adjustable fill of the original MyPillow, but now it has fabric that is made with temperature-regulating thread. The MyPillow 2.0 is the softest, smoothest, and coolest pillow you'll ever own. Right now, MyPillow is offering a buy one, get one free special on the MyPillow 2.0 when you go to MyPillow.com. Please use promo code Dobbs, call 800-977-9152, and say goodbye to tossing and turning and flipping your pillow over during the night. Take advantage of this buy one, get one free offer by going to MyPillow.com, use promo code Dobbs, and join us each and every day for my podcast as well, The Great America Show. Thanks for being with us. Join us here tomorrow, please, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central. Coming right up after this, Mike Lindell's show, and Mike has a fantastic show in store for you tonight. Good night. Thanks for being with us. God bless you, and God bless America.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free. I'm excited to announce we're having a huge MyPillow spring sale. And here's a few examples. Buy one of our MyPillow 2.0s, you get another MyPillow 2.0 absolutely free. Made with cooling technology, the best pillow ever just got even better. And this just in, 9 brand new colors and styles of our Percale bed sheets. They're made with the finest long staple cotton, and now you can save 50% or more. That's as low as $24.98. And for the first time this year, I'm bringing you our My Slippers and Sandals for as low as $25 a pair. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get your MyPillow 2.0s. Buy one, get one free. Percale sheets as low as $24.98. My Slippers and Sandals as low as $25 a pair. And for a limited time, when you order $75 or more, your entire order ships absolutely free. Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. MyPillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. MyPillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of MyPillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your MyPillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
mypillow.com.
Mike Lindell here, and like you, I see our country being destroyed daily. We face massive economic issues, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, there are people in power who threaten the values that have made our country great. Well, I've been a believer in gold and silver for a long time, and I've searched for years for a partner that shares my values. Well, Genesis Gold Group showed me how easy it is to protect your IRA, 401k, or your retirement with gold and silver. Their faith-driven approach to service and stewardship is one that stands out from the rest. So call Genesis Gold Group now at 1-800-200-GOLD. That's 1-800-200-4653, or go to LindellGoldRush.com now.
Three years ago, FrankSpeech.com was launched during the height of mass media censorship to give voices back to those who had their voices silenced. This April,